Malka's's glow up, shining bright. New finds and tools in the spotlight. Fabric, notions, treasures in play. Sharing what's on the table today.
Welcome to What's on My Table Thursday. Okay, so what's on my table today is this pattern. I cut this pattern actually a couple of days ago because I want to make a top, and the top that I'm making is actually all-in-one color top. So here will be the shoulder, this is the neck, and from this notch up, this part is the collar. Right, I have an opening here. Also, I would have side pockets, and with the opening I cut the facing for it. The front would be on the fold. I do not want it open, although I can make it open, but for this style I don't want it open. And the back also would have an opening here, two openings, and this the facing to go there. And the fabric I'm using is this. This print is my native island madras fabric. So what I did here, let me show you. I have the fabric here. What I did was basically fold it so that I can get it on the bias. I'm gonna take my pattern, and this is the back, and I'm gonna place it right here. The reason why I put this on the bias, because I didn't want this fabric to be, because it's a plaid, I just don't want it to be straight down. You know, just to me it's just boring like that, just straight. So I wanted it to be on the bias so that it can have a different flow and also a different look with the stripes. Okay, so this pattern I didn't put any seam allowance. So if you have a pattern and it doesn't have seam allowance, remember you have to add the seam allowance on the fabric. Also, it's always wise to mark, add seam allowance. I did not mark on this because I know, but for example, if I'm making a pattern to give to someone to work on, I would have to let them know that they would have to add seam allowance. And how much the seam allowance is. So I'm going to use this piece here to cut my front and back facing for the openings that I showed you earlier. So I just want to see, I just need 4, so So as this is cut on the fold, I'm just gonna take my scissors and cut down the center here. Okay, so I finished cut all my pieces out. I have my elastic and I have my sleeve. It's not a sleeve, but you're gonna see the design. Okay, I have the facing for the front opening. I have my pockets. I have the back and I have the front. Right, so the first thing I did here was pin my facing onto where I'm going to have my opening. You mark where you're going to have your opening and use a tracing wheel to mark the spot. Okay, so I'm just defining the marks here on the material, right? And this is the wrong side. Okay, so next I'm going to place the fabric on the machine. And this is like if you're making a buttonhole by using fabric. It's more or less the same thing. I don't know if any one of you have done that. If you don't want to make a buttonhole with the machine, you can use fabric pieces and make buttonholes. So it's similar, it's just exactly the same way. Alright. So I know you can't see this, but this is a rectangle opening right here, and I'm going to stitch right around. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut down the middle and then cut into my corners. And this is also is like making a pocket. Alright, so once I'm done this, all I'm going to do now is turn this inside out. And you use your fingers just to crease the corners. You can also place a pin just to hold it in place. So now you see the opening. So I'm going to go to the ironing board and I'm going to press this around. But I'm going to fold the sides in about 0.5. Fold them in about 0.5 until I have it nice and flat. So all I'm going to do now is just top stitch around where I just turned, and then I'm going to top stitch on the inside here. This is how it looks now it's finished. The top is cut on the bias, and then these pieces, they cut straight on the straight. They give it a different contrast. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on the other pieces onto the back piece and come back. This is the front and this is the back. So I'm gonna put the back aside. So now I'm gonna be putting on my pockets. So when I cut my pattern, I notch exactly where my pockets are gonna be. So from here to there is the opening. So I'm gonna get my pockets and I'll show you how I put my pockets on. Okay, so these are the pockets. I cut these on the straight and these on the bias. So I'm going to use the ones that's on the bias onto the body of the top. I also notch the sides where the pocket is going to be stitching. So on the right side to right side to right side, I place my pocket piece down just like this, matching the sides here where I notch. And I'm going to place a pin just to keep them in place. Alright, so from this notch to that notch, I'm going to be stitching my 1 centimeter seam allowance right here. There's a recommendation that I would like to mention. And if you cut anything on the bias, try not to handle it too much. Because even though this fabric is a cotton material, if I turn it like this, where the plaid lines are going straight down or across, there would be no stretch. If I start stretching this out, I would lose the whole shape. So always remember, when you cut things on bias, handle it carefully. So once I'm finished cutting the 1 centimeter seam, right here, what I'm gonna do, I am gonna notch this up to where the stitch is, but not too close where you cut the stitch. Alright, so you can see what I did here. Right up to the stitch. Alright, so the next thing, I'm gonna turn this over. You notice what I did here, I bring the half over to that. So all I did was just open this out. So all I did was just open that out and just make sure it's nice and flat here. And I'm gonna press this flat, and then I'm gonna stitch from this point where I notch straight down to the next. So now that I finished stitching the pocket, what I'm going to do is to just turn it onto the wrong side and just make sure that right where you notch here, that both pieces are facing you, they're out. Then I'm going to take the iron and just seam right in between where the pocket is going to be. Alright, so then next I'm going to take the half. I'm going to take 1/2 of the pocket lining. Make sure you have the wrong sides and right sides all marked so you know what is what. Now you're going to take the right side, place it down onto the right side of this. And you already have your notches here. Your notches need to line up right along the edges here. Alright, you turn this back over onto the right side. Make sure that you have your 1 centimeter seam allowance here, that the underneath half of the pocket is lined up with 1 centimeter seam allowance along here. Once you have that, you place a couple of pins just to hold that in place. Make sure everything is nice and flat, right? Okay. So what you're going to do next is grab your 2 halves of the pocket, and you're going to go ahead and give it that 1 centimeter stitch all the way around here. And if you have an overlocker, overlock it. If not, you use a zigzag stitch and go around just to neaten the edges. Okay, so you see right where the notch is. What I'm gonna do is just give it a couple of stitches just to tack it off right here and right here, and next stitch up here just to secure the pocket onto the side seam, and do the same thing going along here. So when you finish, the pocket is secure. Alright, so the pocket is done. I'm just gonna give this a little press. So this is what it looks like on the wrong side. And it's not showing in the opening here. Alright, so you have your pocket right here. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put in the other pocket, then I'll come back and show you next. So both pockets are in now. Alright, so now I am gonna be working on the collar, right? So I have my top, this is the front, I have the top on the right side. So I'm gonna bring the 2 halves together. Make sure that make sure that I join my notch here. And I'm just gonna place a couple of pins. So whatever the seam allowance is, that's what I'm going to stitch. You already know my seam allowance is 1 centimeter seam allowance. So I'm going to stitch right across here 1 centimeter seam. The thing is, if you want interfacing, you can put your interfacing from this notch to the top on both sides, but I do not want interfacing. I want my material to have the same consistent flow all around. So I'm just going to stitch that 1 centimeter straight across. After that, I'm going to open the seam and press this. So this is the mannequin, and I'm going to take the front, and you know, this is the collar, this is the back. So I'm just going to place this onto the mannequin. Right, so right away what you're going to see here is that this is going to form a pleat automatically from the neck. But that's not what we're working on right now. We're going to be working on the shoulder and the back neck. So you definitely see how this falls right away. These are the shoulders here, and that's the back neck. I'm going to grab the back. So if I was on the table and I say put right side to right side, obviously the right side of the back, the right side of the front. So this is what you're going to get, like that, right? But as we're on the mannequin here, I'm going to demonstrate to you what it's going to look like if it's already, if the shoulders and the neck is already stitched. So right away, it's going to be right here. This is the arm. That's the neck where it's going to be. That's the shoulder, and these are the arms. This would literally go like that, right? That's how that would go. So I'm going to pin this so you can see what I'm talking about. So right side to right side. I'm going to pin one shoulder. Make sure you pin your notches together. And when you come around the neck, here, around this part, you should have 1 centimeter left over. This is to go around the neck. So you pin this up to right in the shoulder here. So say for example, all of these are already pinned. You can see what it looks like. So if I'm going to stitch the sides, then you have this over. I have something else to do here. Okay, so I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to continue pinning the neckline and this other shoulder. Quite a loose top, so this is just perfect. So this is what it looks like, and you can see right away as you put the top on, it creates the two pleats, one on each side. Okay, so this is the finished product. This is the top. You can see the opening, and it has a sash. I'm gonna show you it without the sash, but we're gonna start with it like that. All right, and you can see my pleat coming down here on either side. This just automatically find its way like this because of the design of the collar. And then I have this elasticated piece. It's not attached to the sleeve, it's separate, so when it goes here it looks as though it's attached, but it's not. Alright, and this sleeve, it falls a little over the shoulder, as you can tell. And then I'm going to turn around and you see the other openings in the back. So you can see that here. And that's the length of it. At the end there is a border. Alright, so I'm going to take my sash out and see what it looks like without the sash. I think either way, you can wear it with or without the sash. And turn around. Right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel. We are almost there.
Malka's's glow up, shining bright. New finds and tools in the spotlight. Fabric, notions, treasures in play. Sharing what's on the table today. Malka's's glow